My name is Zachary, and I'm a little bit shy sometimes, usually. And I've always had an interest in my life to make music. Started, I think, when I was 8. I got a piano for some reason. I don't remember why, but for Christmas, I got a piano. My brother got a drum set, and I was playing classical music from then. I didn't really like it very much, but I liked it. I liked it enough, but I didn't like it very much. I'm currently at my childhood home, by the way. This is a different change in scenery. I remember when I was a kid, somehow I was just messing around on YouTube and I found a bunch of videos with people on synthesizers making jazz. I specifically remember, I think it's a guy named Koichi Style, maybe I should look it up. But he's playing The Girl from Ipanema with the Korg DS-10 and a Stylophone. I thought that was awesome. I immediately got myself a Korg DS-10 and a Stylophone. I think I had to pirate the DS-10 because I'm pretty sure it wasn't available in America. So I had to learn how to pirate DS cartridges and get the Japanese version. Anyway, that was a lot of fun. And I learned a lot about jazz. Like, I just wanted to make music of the style, like specifically bossa nova and other types of music similar to that, but using electronic instruments. I was extremely interested in that. So I was making a lot of electronic instrument music, trying to do it with multiple styles of jazz. Somehow I got into exotica, which is a type of music that I love. I was making music of those styles, and I very much remember this. I was sharing something on Reddit, and somebody said that they said that what I was making was all over the place. Now, I don't know how they meant it, but I took it as an insult. I felt hurt. Hurt my soul. And but I thought I had a point. I thought I thought there was no lie being told. So I looked up how to arrange music, like how to, if I had multiple ideas to put into a song, how do I arrange that in a song? And somehow I landed on finding Arnold Schoenberg's Fundamentals of Musical Composition. And I bought this book, I read this book. I fell in love with this book. It is a book about how to arrange classical compositions. So it is specifically for classical music, written by Arnold Schoenberg. This book changed my life. And I guess everything that I'm saying here changed my life, but specifically here, I learned something that was really important, because when I read this book, he had so many references for classical music. I bought I bought Spotify Premium so that I could have Spotify and listen to all the music that I wanted to listen to. I started to do that, and I started to listen to a whole lot of music, classical music. And I started to learn how to listen to classical music because Schoenberg is giving examples for how to arrange a theme within classical music. And I learned all that, and it completely transformed how I listened to classical music. I began to love classical music. And it was something I wanted to listen to much more and get deeper into. But that's not the thing that changed my life. What really changed my life was recognizing that Schoenberg was the one doing this. Now, I had known about Schoenberg a little bit. I knew that he made very weird music. I've listened to his atonal music, or specifically his serialist music, and I knew that it didn't sound good. That's all I knew about it. And I didn't want to listen to it very much. I knew that much. But then I learned that he was an expert in classical era music, classical era and romantic era music. So he knew how to listen to that type of music. So much so that it would not be a stretch to say that he invented new ways to appreciate classical music. There are ways that he described how classical music was arranged that the people who were writing the classical music did not know how to describe. They did not have the language to describe why one theme was constructed in one way and why the second theme would have to be in a different form. And that just, the language wasn't there. The appreciation wasn't there. By the way, my name is Zachary. As you can tell, I'm interested in aesthetics, and I want to get deep into the nature of beauty. I want to encourage the growth of appreciation and how we can appreciate beauty. So if that's something that you're into, then support my Patreon. Link is right here on the screen. Link's also in the description. Schoenberg kind of started writing these theories somewhere in the 1920s or 30s, and he's describing music as old as the 1780s or so. So in this case, it took a person several hundred years removed could learn and invent new ways to appreciate classical music. And then he could write it down in a book and teach it to me in the early 2000s, how to listen to classical music. And it greatly affected how I listened to classical music and really how I listen to all music in general. And knowing that the displacement of the creation of the work of art, the appreciation of the work of art, and then teaching somebody else to appreciate that work of art, that recognition of that displacement is the thing that actually changed my life. Because now I think at that point I recognized that there are ways to learn how to appreciate art better. And now, of course, I didn't only, at that point I did, once I learned that I didn't only apply it to art. Once I recognized that I didn't only apply it to music, I started to want to understand how to appreciate paintings. I wanted to understand how to appreciate movies. I wanted to understand how to appreciate books and other narrative arts. All of those things became much, much, much more interesting to me because I recognized that somebody else could have learned how to appreciate it. And because I recognized that, of course, the people who are writing it could appreciate it, but then somebody in the future could improve the appreciation and share that improvement of appreciation, allowing for progress in how art is created and experienced and appreciated. Of course, I continued on a little bit. I learned a little bit of William Kaplan, more about classical forms. He actually continued Schoenberg's theories and improved upon them greatly. And fascinating, amazing. It'll transform how you listen to classical music if you like classical music, or maybe you don't like it because you don't understand it, whatever. Highly, highly recommend it, the work of William Kaplan. Amazing. Of course, understanding this, it did change how I started to create music because I was making music, and obviously all my music was all over the place, as the person on Reddit correctly assessed. And once I learned how to write music in a more structured way, or how to arrange it in some structured way, I began to structure my music. And boy, oh boy, is it fascinating to. I had some crazy music, and I still sometimes make some crazy music, a little bit erratic, a little bit manic, a little bit fun, okay, a little bit out there sometimes. But learning how to, or attempting to put them into a structure, and then getting the feeling, there's a feeling for me as I put the music into that type of structure. I don't know how to describe it, but I enjoy it. I enjoy the process of putting the music that I was thinking about, which at the time was more electronic music, kind of jazz influenced, sometimes even more experimental, like collages and like soundscapes and weird stuff like that.
Okay.
Attempting to put those into a quasi classical structure and make analogies to the classical, make analogies to the rules of classical music as they apply to something that is more like unstructured collage. That to me was just such an exciting and amazing process. And really, that's just a description of my love of art appreciation, and just a recognition of that process of progress in art appreciation. Thanks for watching the video. If you want to support the growth of beauty, join my Patreon.